African-American female.
I'm a professor of English and Women's Studies at the University of Cincinnati.
I am 29 years old and a Cincinnati resident.
And I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio.
From Cincinnati.
I'm a brother, I'm a son.
Family, I live with a partner. I have 2 grown children from a prior marriage. I have 2 grandchildren who are the joy of my life.
What does sexual privilege mean to you?
Sexual privilege is benefiting from the majority sexual status, much like heterosexuals in a predominantly heterosexual setting.
Well, I've had it. I've had sexual privilege. I was married to a man. I know what that is. It's all about the whole world telling me that they approve of who I am and the choices I've made. And they'll support those choices by making way for me in a grocery store when I'm pregnant, or they'll help me by telling me that this is the right way to raise my child in a family that's heterosexual.
Sexual privilege means to me, as a woman, not being able to have the sexual freedoms that everyone else has, especially what men have.
I'm not even thinking about what kind of rights and privileges they get, both socially and from the state, based upon the relationships that they form.
There are just so many ways in which our society privileges heterosexuality. They'll give me insurance for my husband and my children. The minute I'm no longer heterosexual, my children can have insurance, but my partner cannot, not through me. So that changes everything. So quite personally, it's not only stuff, but it's attitude, the attitude of the whole society.
I first came out in Germany.
I came out for the first time when I was 17 years old.
I was a high school student in the 1960s.
That was significant because not only did I come out to my brother, but I also came out to myself.
The last time was probably within the last week, because you never come out just once. It's a continual thing.
Coming out is a daily occurrence, so today is probably the last time I came out. Well, the question here is, in Cincinnati, how often do you find yourself in social groups that you find support your sexual privilege?
Not often, especially not with what I believe.
I choose to be in places that generally support my sexual privilege.
I find myself in a supportive LGBTQ environment very rarely in Cincinnati.
I find myself in social groups that support my sexual privilege all the time because I refuse to be around people that don't accept me for me.
Okay, so name 10 famous LGBTQ people from history, ancient, modern, or contemporary. Gosh, how do you choose only 10?
Alexander the Great, Audre Lorde, Harvey Milk.
That's 3.
Oscar Wilde, a British playwright and wit. I think of Sappho, the Greek poet from the Isle of Lesbos.
Okay, that's 5.
Ellen, Rosie O'Donnell, Langston Hughes.
I have to say James Baldwin.
Abraham Lincoln, supposedly, William Shakespeare.
Then, of course, I'm way into the 20th century. I think of Rita Mae Brown. I think of Martina Navratilova. I think of Cici, the Brazilian soccer player.
Sandra Bernhardt, Harvey Milk.
How many is that? 8?
8.
I don't even know where I am, how many I've
6.
chosen.
That's
6.
6.
I'm only at 6. How can that be?
Let's see.
Oh, and Sylvia Riviera, the Puerto Rican drag queen that threw the first brick and sparked the Stonewall riots, which is the beginning of the modern day gay rights movement. Gay civil rights movement, sorry.
Where did I learn about these people? A funny question. Of course, I did not learn about them in school.
I didn't learn that Langston Hughes, excuse me, I didn't learn that Langston Hughes was gay. Probably not until I got into graduate school. Yeah. But everybody else I learned about from the media.
We had about a paragraph in our history book, which was pretty progressive, about the Stonewall riots, but that was the only thing.
No, I did not learn about any of these people in school. It's something I learned on my own when I had to find my place in history, so I looked it up myself.
To me, sexual privilege, the struggle for gay and lesbian rights, for instance, or LGBT rights, is definitely tied into every other social struggle. All social struggles, in my opinion, are connected.
Sexual privilege is tied in to and affected by my other personal social struggles because it's in everything that I do. Being gay isn't the only thing that I am, but it's definitely a piece of who I am, and it helps to shape my thoughts and actions.
When and how did you first decide you were a heterosexual?
Why do heterosexuals place so much emphasis on sex?
A disproportionate majority of child molesters are heterosexual. Do you consider it safe to expose your children to heterosexual teachers?
To whom have you disclosed your heterosexual tendencies?
Would you want your children to be heterosexual, knowing the problems they'd face?
How can you become a whole person if you limit yourself to compulsive, exclusive heterosexuality and fail to develop your natural, healthy homosexual potential?
Why do you insist on flaunting your heterosexuality? Can't you just be what you are and keep it quiet?
Even with all the societal support marriage receives, the divorce rate is spiraling. Why are there so few stable relationships among heterosexuals?
Why do you heterosexuals feel compelled to seduce others into your lifestyle?
There seem to be very few happy heterosexuals. Techniques have been developed that might enable you to change if you really want to. Have you ever considered trying aversion therapy?